first we're going to go over the actions of the gluteus muscles. There's the gluteus maximus, medius, and minimus. The gluteus maximus plays a role in extension of the hip, external rotation of the hip, and then the upper fibers of it assist in abduction, and also the lower fibers assist in adduction. Another important thing is the posterior pelvic tilt. Okay, and then moving on to the gluteus medius, this plays a role in abduction of the hip, and also lateral pelvic rotation to the ipsilateral side. So the glute muscles on this side are going to be contracting during that. And then also the anterior fibers of the gluteus medius do internal rotation of the hip and flexion, and then also anterior pelvic rotation. And then kind of opposite, the posterior fibers do external rotation and extension of the hip, and also posterior pelvic rotation. And then lastly, the gluteus minimus does abduction of the hip, and then the same thing, lateral pelvic rotation to the ipsilateral side, and then also flexion of the hip, and lastly, anterior pelvic rotation.
So for our weight training plan to target our gluteus muscles, first we're going to target our gluteus maximus. Now, keeping in mind that the gluteus maximus is primarily activated during hip extension, we want our exercises to be hip extending movements. So the first exercise that we're going to have her do is the donkey kick. You can see we've added a glute band for increased resistance. You can also add ankle weights or do this with a cable machine. Next, another exercise is the goblet squat. So she's going to stand up and we're going to hand her a little weight here. And then as she goes down the squat and then comes up, you can see the hip extension, activating the gluteus maximus. And then finally, we have our glute bridge. So you can lay on the ground. Another good way to increase the resistance in the glute bridge is to use a medicine ball and hold it on top of your abdomen for some increased weight as you go up. And then make sure to really contract those glutes as you reach the top of your glute bridge.
Since the glute medius and the glute minimus are both working for hip abduction, we're going to combine some of the exercises to work both those muscles at the same time. So the first one, leg abduction as you're standing. She's going to kick her heel out to the side, working the lateral muscles, medius and minimus. And another way to do this is just to kick back. She just sends her heel back and she works these lateral muscles on the outside. Next, she'll lay down on the ground and we'll find an abduction with her leg lift. So she'll lay on her side. And then placing her hand down, and then slowly she'll lift her left leg up, feeling the resistance with the band. And then again, working these lateral muscles, the medius and the minimus. And then if she gets in a tabletop position, bringing her the band above her knees, we'll move into a fire hydrant position. So she'll send her knee out laterally to the side, again, abduction, working the lateral side, lateral muscles. And then lastly, if she flips over on her back, we'll move into a bridge pose. Resistance band still right above her knees on her thighs. And then at the top of the bridge, she'll send her knees in and out at the top. So just working the lateral muscles.
So some good methods of recovery after targeting your glute muscles with strength are using direct pressure, and these can be used by applying force with your body weight on a foam roller. Like so. She can do so targeting the lateral muscles, so the gluteus medius and the minimus, and she can also rotate her body posteriorly to target the gluteus maximus more clearly. And she can also target these muscles directly by using a tennis ball, which we do not have right now. Some helpful yoga poses and stretches are the figure 4 stretch, which you can do sitting down or you can do standing, but she feels a greater pull laterally and posteriorly when she is standing. And this is good because it targets the lateral muscles and the posterior muscles. And also the king pigeon stretch, which she will get on the floor and perform to target all 3 muscles at once, laterally the gluteus minimus and medius, and also the gluteus maximus posteriorly.